Karen never liked me. And honestly, I think it's because I was the only person in our entire HOA who had the guts to tell her she wasn't queen of the neighborhood. Every meeting, she'd sit there like some budget monarch on her folding chair throne, tapping her pen like a judge waiting to sentence someone. She didn't crave order, she craved control. And unfortunately for her, I wasn't one of her loyal peasants. She despised everything about me: my voice, my confidence, my refusal to kiss her perfectly manicured ring. If I parked an inch too close to the curb, I got a fine. If my grass dared to grow half an inch too long, she'd send a friendly reminder citing HOA regulations. It wasn't about lawns or rules, it was about power. A pathetic little power trip for a woman who clearly couldn't control her own miserable life. But you know what's funny? Life's sense of humor. While she hated me like I'd stolen her crown, her daughter Emily and my daughter Stacy were best friends. Like inseparable. Weekend sleepovers, matching pajamas, whispering secrets under blanket forts, all while their mothers were locked in a silent, cold war. I thought maybe, just maybe, that innocent friendship would melt the ice between Karen and me someday. Spoiler, it didn't. Every time I dropped Stacy off, Karen gave me that plastic smile, the kind that could curdle milk. She'd stand at her door like she was guarding Buckingham Palace, clutching her mug and glaring at me like I was breathing the wrong kind of air. But I didn't care. Stacy adored Emily, and Emily was a sweetheart. I wasn't about to let one bitter woman ruin a friendship between two kids. Still, sometimes I'd catch this look in Karen's eyes. Something sharp, calculated, like she was plotting something. I shrugged it off, thought I was just being paranoid. But if I'd known what was coming next, I would have never let my daughter step near that house again. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from, and make sure to subscribe to Silent Divide Tales, because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. It all started a few days after I completely humiliated Karen in front of the entire HOA board. See, this woman had been quietly treating the HOA funds like her personal ATM. Community expenses for salon visits, fancy dinners, and even a spa membership, very public service oriented stuff. I'd had enough. So at the next meeting, I came prepared. And when I say prepared, I mean receipts. I projected every shady charge right onto the big screen while Karen sat frozen, jaw locked, face turning the exact shade of a tomato in mid July. The room went dead silent. Even her closest allies were staring at her like she'd just confessed to poisoning the HOA pool. When I was done, I didn't just expose her, I ended her little reign. She stormed out shaking, muttering that I'd regret this. Sure, Karen, add it to my to-do list. A few days later, I got a call from her husband, Mark. Nice guy, quiet, polite, and clearly exhausted from living with a one-woman dictatorship. Emily misses Stacy, he said. Karen's fine with a play date. You can drop Stacy off around 3. Now my gut twisted for a second. Karen hadn't spoken to me since the great HOA meltdown of 2024, and suddenly she was fine with a play date? Yeah, suspicious. But Mark sounded sincere, and I didn't want to punish my daughter over adult nonsense. So I said yes. Can you believe that? I actually said yes. But then again, what could possibly go wrong with two little girls playing dolls and watching cartoons? Spoiler alert, everything. That Saturday, Stacy was bouncing beside me in her favorite pink dress, clutching her stuffed bunny, skipping toward Karen's house like the world was made of sunshine. Mark's car was parked out front. That calmed me a bit. I knocked on the door. Karen opened it, wearing that fake strained smile that could strip paint. "Oh, it's you," she said flatly. No hello, no welcome. She glanced at my daughter like she was inspecting a bug. Then she shut the door. Hard. I frowned. Stacy tugged my sleeve. "Did I do something wrong, Daddy?" "Of course not, sweetheart," I told her. But the next time that door opened, the world exploded. The door flew open, and before I could even blink, there was a sharp hiss. A blast of burning mist hit me straight in the face. My skin lit up like fire, my eyes felt like they were melting, and somewhere beside me, Stacy screamed. I couldn't see a thing, but I could hear her crying, terrified, choking out, "Daddy, it hurts!" Karen had just pepper sprayed us. Not just me, my 7-year-old daughter. I stumbled backward, gasping, trying to grab her, but everything burned. My throat, my hands, my eyes. Somewhere through the chaos, I heard Karen's calm, steady breathing. She wasn't panicking. She was enjoying it. That silence was worse than the pain. Then, chaos. The sound of a door slamming from inside, and Mark's voice furious. Karen, what did you do? He rushed out, grabbed me by the shoulders, and guided me toward the curb. Sit down. Oh my God, you sprayed them both. I could barely breathe, but I heard people shouting, neighbors running, someone yelling to call 911. Through blurry tears, I saw Stacy's little bunny lying face down in the dirt. Her hands were over her eyes, her tiny body shaking. I'll never forget that image, ever. The paramedics arrived fast. They flushed our eyes, got Stacy on oxygen, and loaded her into the ambulance. Mark came with us, still shouting into his phone, "She's lost it! She's completely lost it!" As the sirens wailed, I sat there in that ambulance holding Stacy's hand, half blind, furious, and trembling, and I knew one thing for sure: Karen had declared war. The next morning, Stacy was asleep beside me in the hospital bed. Her face was swollen, her eyes covered with gauze. The doctors said she'd heal, but she'd need time and treatment. My hands shook just watching her breathe. Then, just when I thought I couldn't hate that woman more, the police showed up. And guess what? Karen told them I attacked her. Yeah, she said she was the victim. Can you believe she actually did that? But then, karma finally decided to show up. When the officer read her statement, I almost laughed, even through the pain. She said I lunged at her and she acted in self-defense. Lady, you sprayed a child. But then the officer pulled out his phone and said, "You might want to see this." Her doorbell camera had caught everything. The calm knock, my daughter's innocent smile, the door slamming, and then swinging open again as Karen unloaded pepper spray straight into a 7-year-old's face. I didn't need to beg for justice. It had already recorded itself. By evening, the footage was everywhere. Neighborhood group chats, Facebook moms pages, even the local news. Headline, HOA President pepper sprays child. Her little empire crumbled overnight. The same neighbors who once trembled at her clipboard were suddenly demanding her resignation. Mark, to his credit, didn't protect her. He cooperated fully, even testified that Karen had been muttering for weeks about teaching me a lesson. He filed for divorce the next day and took Emily with him. I couldn't blame him. You can't share a roof with evil. Karen was arrested. Assault, child endangerment, false statements, the works. In court, she tried the whole mental distress routine, crocodile tears and all, but the judge wasn't buying it. She got sentenced, fined, and permanently banned from holding any HOA or community position ever again. The HOA itself, they faced a lawsuit too for ignoring years of complaints about her abuse of power. We settled, and let's just say Stacy's college fund is now very secure. And the cherry on top, the board voted me in as president. My first rule was simple: no one, no matter how entitled or pearl necklaced, ever abuses authority again. Karen thought she was teaching me a lesson, but in the end, she was the one who lost it all: her power, her reputation, and her precious control. She used pepper spray to blind us, but life made sure she was the one who couldn't see the truth anymore. This is Silent Divide Tales, where karma doesn't knock, it kicks the door down. If you believe justice always finds its way, hit that like button, share this story, and subscribe because the next one will make your jaw drop.